I'm Caroline Adderholt from Alabama. My husband's Robert Adderholt, and we have two children. He represents the 4th District of Alabama.
My husband is Juan Ciscomani. He represents Arizona's 6th Congressional District, and we have 6 children.
Joanna Knott, I'm married to Brad Knott, and we represent District 13 in North Carolina. And we have 2 little girls, Bunny, who is 3, and Toller is 5.
I'm Natalie Heisinger. My husband's Bill Heisinger. We have been in for 8 terms, 16 years. We have 5 kids. We live in Holland, Michigan.
I'm Robin Allen. I'm from Augusta, Georgia. And we have 4 grown kids and 14 grandchildren. And we're going to have a grandbaby in September. And we have been here 6 terms.
Being in politics can be really hard, especially now with the internet. How do you protect your kids from the political attacks that land on your family?
I think they've gotten used to it over time, and they've developed some tough skin. For when they don't read it, they try not to pay attention to it or read any of it. They're just happier that way. But I think they realize it goes with the territory. It's just part of it. Mm-hmm. And by God's grace, they've handled it really well.
Our youngest is 7, our oldest is 17, so we kind of are in different seasons of life with all of them. Mm-hmm. But once they reach adolescence, it's harder to shield them from the negative attacks. I think most of all, it's tuning it out and really actively practicing forgiveness and realizing it's not, not to take it personally or internalize it, but really to forgive people. Okay, so let's talk about that perennial question. Should a member's family live in their home state district, or should the family be together in Washington, D.C.?
We decided we wanted to continue with school in our community because these are people who've known us before politics. And so instead of being Congressman Donald's kids, as they would be up here, they were Byron and Erica's kids.
I always thought it would be exciting to live in D.C., but there's so much criticism if you're not in your home district.
We raised our kids here because we felt it was very important for Robert to have a more normal pattern with them, and we could do that here.
So Juan will bring the kids one-on-one for a week every year, and the kids are able to see what he does. So when they're at home, they understand that, oh, he's on the floor voting. If I say, oh, dad's taking a vote right now.
I think that it's so special for the kids to see what they're doing here. Yeah. Brandon has loved taking Marigold to the floor to vote. We do wreak havoc on the office a lot with the little kids with crumbs. But I think it is so special for them to get to be part of it so that they can look back later and see, wow, like they were part of history in a way.
I still remember my kids would see, when Fox News puts the picture of the Capitol, and then they would say, oh, look, it's Daddy's office. That's a pretty amazing thing, and it's very clear that you guys really appreciate that. Everybody here, you can tell, loves their spouse. But this is a hard job to keep a marriage together because there is this distance. And the distance isn't just between Washington, D.C. and your district, but then your husband comes home and you don't actually get your husband because he's got to travel the district and he's got to raise money. How do you protect your marriage in this environment?
I think that you have to really communicate with each other and be very open and be very intentional and deliberate about making time for one another, because there is really no time, especially in this new position.
Yes.
We always say it's a season of zero downtime in service, and we're up for that, but it can be challenging at times.
How many years you been married, Robin?
52.
That's amazing.
You have to be intentional. You have to say, okay, now we have to sit down and like Rick says, it's like a company meeting, just a board meeting that you have. You take care of your company that way. We need to take care of our family and our marriage in the same way. So we have to be intentional.
We're all, like you said, flexible. We all roll with it, but I think it's really tough to find those times. But we were great about family times with the kids. I always called them forced family fun days. You're all going to be home, but we're going to have fun.
I really do think at the end of the day, it's like faith in God, because there's nothing we can do that's going to outline our path in this. And so, of course, prayer, regardless of what city you're in, going to church, whether you're in Texas, being at your home church, even if you're traveling, making sure you go to church there.
We both are very intentional about praying for each other. And then he is really intentional about taking me out on a date every single time he's home.
Great.
And that has been life-giving for us and for our marriage.
I think people who pray together stay together, and we practice that. You have to be intentional no matter where or what God has called you to do, and even more so when you have a high-pressure position like this. But everyone has to be intentional and stay in tune with God and in tune with their spouse at all times.
I want to also acknowledge that we're not the only people. Congressional spouses aren't the only spouses in America that have very challenging lives and families and schedules. And I think it speaks more to what, women in America now are doing so much. And I guess I want them to be encouraged by us, and they encourage us that, we're all in this together, and just give everybody a lot of grace.
So first of all, the reason why we timed it this way is every year there is a congressional spouse luncheon for the First Lady. And that happened that day. So I knew I could get, everyone in town. And that's a bipartisan club. And we're going to talk about this a little bit in part 2 tomorrow. But, the spouses get together. They support one another. It was really special for me to interview them because I know I'm a cabinet spouse right now, but I will always feel like a congressional spouse because 10 years of my life I was. And listening to their stories was heartwarming. I got a little bit of PTSD, I'm not going to lie. Those
From
are
what, from what, though? Because we were watching that. Charlie asked you, what's the hardest part of being a spouse? And I thought that was a really interesting question.
It's the distance. And I think you hear it in these women's voices when I ask them about how do you keep the marriage together. You are really, when you're home in your district, it's like you're a single mom. Handling it all because they're gone most of the week. And then, as I said, when they come back, they're traveling the distance. And I love that Carolyn Adderholt, who's the most veteran of all of the congressional spouses you saw there, she said, we're not the only ones. I mean, we have military spouses and their husbands are off at war right now. And, this is not to make it sound like it's the same thing, but it is very taxing on families. It's taxing on kids. And the spouses carry the weight of that. And so anyway, it just was so lovely to sit down with them, and they're all really good people. And I hope people feel good about Congress watching this because meeting the spouses tells you a lot about.
Well, it's certainly a reminder of how difficult it is to find really good people who are willing to make those sacrifices. And we're very grateful to those good people who do make those sacrifices. And we'll be watching more of it tomorrow.
No, actually, I thought that part 2.
No, later today.
Part 2 is actually later today. I thought we were going to do part 2 tomorrow, but actually we're going to do part 2 later in the show.
Nice.
And we'll learn more about that.
We will learn more.
Well, now we're getting another look at Rachel's exclusive sit-down with some of the wives of some of our most influential congressmen.
That's right. We talked about their role as a support system and advisor to their husbands, and also learned some surprising things about their husbands. Take a look. Tell me something about your husband that you think people don't know and you want them to know about?
Oh my gosh, I think I would just say he's so family-centered. He's such a great dad to our kids. I think just seeing him in this role is just amazing to see, but also just in the traveling back and forth. Our home is Texas. We love Texas, but when we do bring the kids up here, we travel with him a lot. And so we'll play, hide and seek in the Capitol Rotunda, get to take them to the lawn and see the toddler playing. So it's just really fun, I think, to see him as a dad and then also in this role.
Every person that he speaks to, he can make them feel like they are the most important person on earth at that moment. He listens intently. He's a great listener. That's why I love being married to him too, as a woman, right? But he's a really great listener, and he's not listening to figure out what he's going to say. He really listens to people. He really cares about people.
Kelly?
I always tell him that he's a Renaissance man because he's multi-talented. He can do so many things, and whatever he does, he does really well. But he's also a funny guy.
Yes, he is.
And I always tell him that this congressional thing doesn't work out, he has a backup plan.
Yes.
He can do impressions.
I was just going to say he can do impressions.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Mike, you got to make it too big to rig. We got to make it too big to rig. That's the thing.
He is a Southern gospel music fan, not only music fan, but he knows all about him. And he'll tell you all about the history of Southern gospel music in North Alabama.
Okay. Very specific.
Very specific.
Juan's happy place is on the football field. He's coached my 3 sons, my daughter, flag football. He just loves, he loves being a dad. And he loves being deeply involved in everything our kids do. He just throws himself into it.
Brad is a bit old-fashioned, and in his ways, and an example of that, I feel like, is he loves a good pen and a piece of paper, and he loves to write thoughtful notes.
Really?
And
Everyone's really jealous right now.
yeah, he does. And to me, to anyone, thank you notes, any type of note.
I would say Bill is a true extrovert, and he is just energized by people, and everybody is a potential friend. Everybody, and which I love
You're
about him.
missing something, though, Natalie. Bill is an amazing dancer. People don't know this about him.
Well, that's his true secret,
It's
Bill.
no, it's like amazing. Like
The
he's
secret's
like
out.
this white guy who can like salsa and like it's amazing.
Yes, Bill's been ballroom dancing since he was 14. His mom
do everything though.
His mom was a ballroom dance instructor.
Robin, what do we not know about your husband that we should? That would surprise us.
You probably wouldn't. He loves his roots. He grew up on a farm. But there's one thing you probably don't know, unless you sat by him. He cannot sing. And I hate to break it to him on this piece right here, but I was a music major, and it's really hard in church sometimes.
Because you're a piano teacher.
And I was a
next to
piano
you.
teacher.
Yeah.
And he loves to make a joyful noise.
Yeah.
So I have to just really be patient. Sometimes I just have to say, not so loud.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't know the song. Don't tell him I told that.
So let's talk about what you actually do as a congressional spouse. So a lot of people think it's just you're home with the kids or you're going to some event. But it's a lot more than that. Natalie and I were talking about how many things get done in an office because somebody asked you.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point that people don't realize. They get caught up in the DC news, but the casework that happens at home in the district offices is incredible. And we also, when we're out and about at the grocery store, they stop you and say, thank you so much. Your husband's office was wonderful, and they helped with citizenship, veterans affair, anything like that. There's so many things, even a passport, anything that they do. But I just think that gets missed, that people don't realize how important that casework is.
True. Joanna, do you find that you are a bridge from your husband to the community, to the voters, that they come to you because they maybe see you sometimes more?
Absolutely. I have a small business, and I am constantly running into constituents at my business, and that's a good thing. And I'm happy to do that. I love that. I think it's part of what we've all signed up for, and so I'm thankful to help out in that way.
Danielle, you're on the cusp. You're sort of a Z generation, Generation Z. You're sort of a millennial. You're definitely one of the youngest couples in Congress. So we're coming into a midterm. The youth vote is very important. It was key to President Trump's election. What's your advice to Speaker Johnson, to the president, to everybody on how to keep that youth vote?
My husband and I met at 18, got married at 22, so we've been married 9 years almost. And so I think just this younger generation just has such a hunger for traditional values and really does just align with conservatism. There's no advice I could really give other than just to say that we just have to excite them and get them to turn out and to vote. And I think that we're seeing that happening.
Kelly, you were a teacher.
Yes.
You're a pastoral counselor.
Yes.
How much are those skills, especially the counseling skills, involved now?
Mike and I have been married for 27 years, and we work as a team, and so we do. We bounce everything off of each other, and but Yes, I try to help him as much as possible.
How do you advise your husband, Carolyn?
I'm very cautious about it because we do trust each other completely, and he does ask, how I think about things. But at the same time, I think that's a role. I think it's a very cautious, delicate role. And I take it that way.
I think it's really important to be a sounding board for your husband and be sparing with your advice. I think that's a good advice for any wife.
Just have to be a proper upper. You've got to just be there for encouragement and you can't give up. There are just times, he walks in the door and said, I don't know how much longer I can do this. And then 2 days later, things will look up, be a little brighter, and you just have to say, he really does it for his constituents.
The truth is, all of our husbands are better for having spouses who support them. And I really appreciate you sort of giving us these honest answers of what it's like, the impact on your families, the impact on your marriage, how you get through it. Because the hope is that more people will want to run.
Yeah.
Yes. We need more good people to run for office. And there's a way to do it. You guys are beautiful examples of serving alongside your spouses.
Our husbands get dehumanized so much, right? On social media. And so my hope is that they'll be able to see, here's a group of women. We come from all walks of life. Some of us work, some of us don't. Some of us are raising children. Some have children out of the house. But the common denominator is that it requires great sacrifice. And our husbands are real people. They're dads. They're deeply loved. They're important to our families. And they're serving out of a heart for people.
What a great time I had with him. By the way, these guys are laughing here on the couch because these ladies are like, we're so sparing with our opinions with our husbands. They know that's not me. But everybody's different.
You're such a quiet sounding board for your husband.
Yeah, you hold your opinion quite often.
Yes, but I will say this. You learn a lot about a member of Congress or a politician through their spouse. The important thing about a spouse is that there is nobody in that politician's orbit who wants nothing from them other than you. You know what I mean? Like, everybody has an agenda, everybody has an angle. You're that sounding board because you want nothing but what's best for your spouse and hopefully the district. And so I think that I hope this window provides a little insight for everybody.
Well, it certainly does. And it's a reminder, as we talked about earlier, of how important it is to have good people willing to serve. And you can't find good people willing to serve unless they have spouses who are willing to serve with them.
It's a reminder, too, that the old adage of behind every good man is a great woman